Hi, this is Sandy of Sandy Pie Creations, and today I'm going to show you briefly how to use a template in Photoshop Elements. I am using Photoshop Elements version 10. It's pretty much the same thing as far as I know through most of the versions, regardless of the newest or the oldest. I learned on Elements 5, 6, and then I started using Photoshop, and occasionally I will bounce back. So I'm not the most expert on it, but I'm going to show you the basics, and there's lots of great videos out there that can show you more, but this is how I would prepare a template to either hand cut it, print and hand cut it out, or to get it ready to use in Silhouette Studio. That is the one that I use when I'm using cut files. And then in the next video that I do, I will show you how to take what we've made in this version and open it in Silhouette Studio and get it ready to cut with the cut files. So here we go. So I have my template open. This one will be the Floral Cuts Flower 1. When you open my templates, you will get, I try to keep them down to the minimum amount of paper use possible, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense to have them all on one page. And so you will get your cut lines, and if there are for the project, fold lines will be on the very top. From there, you're also going to have each layer separated, and then a version of everything. So in case you just wanted to put one paper on everything and cut it all out and go as you do. For this version, I'm going to make all my flowers different colors, and then I'm going to probably do something different with my centers. So I'm going to pop open my project bin here because it takes up a lot of space. So I had it closed. I'm going to select my first layer. And with these flowers, I like to go from darkest color up. It helps with the realism and make it look sort of like a flower. So I'm going to drag my paper up, and because we're in Elements, we're going to Control G, and that's going to clip these two layers together. I went ahead and turned off my all layer because I'm not using that one, and that's just clicking the eyeball open and shut. And then I'm going to hold my shift key, but that was cap locks. So let's try again with the shift key. Got my layer selected, and I want a little, oh, that's right, I'm in Element, so I guess I don't need to hold the shift key to get it to go down an even amount. Yeah, I think that looks good. So I'm going to click that, select my next layer, and I'd like to throw a little pattern in here when I'm doing these. So I'm going to drag this layer up, Control G. In a way, I almost like that, but I'm just going to shrink it down a little because that's how I do it when I do it. Get a little more pattern on there to help give it some definition of layers when we're cutting out. Okay, layer 3. We're going to drag the next color up. And just for variation, I'm going to shrink that pattern even more. Control G to clip it. Layer 4, I'm going to put this little pattern in here. This one's really going to shrink. Control T to clip them together. And then I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of a turn because I like the way it looks. And then the lightest color. Control G. Alright, and now we're going to go to our centers. And I think what I'm going to do, it'd be the same thing over again, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these layers and just bring one paper up. Clip it on there. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay. So we're done pulling stuff up. I can close that project bin again. And then I'm going to come to my cut lines. And if I was, it's entirely up to you, of course, like all, which is the beauty of hybrid, is that you can play with it as you like. What I like to do before I cut is I'm going to change these to soft light. And then I turn the opacity down just enough that you can still see it on there. But should I miss, it's not going to be terribly distracting. See how it's just a little bit of a dark line around stuff? Doesn't work as well on anything that has white. Because if I had white, I would just turn it to normal and turn the opacity down if I was doing a lot that had white in it. So that way I could see those lines, especially because you're printing on white paper. But that would be how I would do that for this one. Yeah, that looks okay. Another thing that I've always liked to do, and I should probably just do a separate video, which I'm not going to be able to do because I can't remember how to do it in Elements, I think. Yep. Anyway, ignore me. So we're going to go ahead and, so basically we're done here. If you wanted to, you could add elements into the centers of the flowers, but you know, then you've got a center here. So if I wanted to, and I had a little ladybug or something that I wanted to pull up and put in the center of that flower, this would be the time to do it. But from here you can save your template as you want to. As a layered one, just make sure you change the file name or save it in a different place. This one, normally I would, at this point when my template is ready for me to save to open in Silhouette Studio, or print, however I'm going to do it, I would run the WinDesign action for save for printing. I find that saves on my ink usage incredibly, and it just ends up being a much better project coming out of my printer. It doesn't matter which one I use. Personally, I recommend the Epson printers. I love them. Some people hate them, but I honestly, knock on wood, have really never had a problem with them except for I wear them out. So that's my recommendation. And then I would print this on a matte presentation paper. Different companies have different thicknesses of paper. Depending on what kind of project you're doing, you're going to decide how thick of a paper you want. Personally, I use one that I find at Sam's Club because I live in a small town and we don't have a lot of office stores that have a lot of selection for that kind of thing. So this one is a much heavier paper, but I am a lot happier with it. If you're not, since I'm not running the action, I'm just going to save as. And I don't use this a lot, so you know, I'm going to save this as Arctic Crew. And I like to kind of save my file names with the designer and the name of the kit in some way, so later on I can remember what I'm doing when I go to posting galleries. You're going to save as standard. You can save 10. If I'm printing, I'd like to save at a quality of 10. If 10's usually good. Sometimes I just do 12. You know, just make sure that you're at baseline standard, and you're going to say okay. And basically you can save this, you can close this, however you want to do it, and you are ready to go on to our next step, which is going to be the Silhouette Studio or just a file print. And this might be interesting. I'm not sure that I have anything set up. Oh, I have a network printer. What I like to do is I'll go in. I'm going to change this to the Premium Presentation Paper Matte. If glossy's your thing, it's harder to run the tools over it and not flake off things like that on the thing. I always run it at a higher print quality because, again, I'm making something that I'm probably going to give somebody, so I want the colors to be bright as possible. And then from there, I, just go ahead and print. Unless you're opening in the Silhouette Studio. So don't print yet. We'll go on to the next and I'll show you from there. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped. Like I said, it's a lot like when you're using templates to make layouts. You're just going to go a step further, and you're going to, if you have an action to save for printing, you're going to go ahead and do that. If not, you're just going to save as a JPEG at a high quality, and then we'll open it up in our cutting software. Sorry. Okay, thanks so much for watching my video, and hopefully you will subscribe to my channel maybe, and get updates when new things come out and more tutorials happen. Thanks so much, and happy hybriding, everybody. Bye.